Guys and dolls, good morning. And a wee bit chillier this morning, so it is. I think there's a wee bit of rain coming, but we're needing it, I think. We're needing it. Hope you're all good. I'm good. Sort of the morning after, just every time something like this happens, it just takes us back to everything that's happened, you know what I mean? I think that's the way everybody is. It just reminds us how bad the government is, and I'm not going to go on about it. Just if anybody wants to drop any comments down, how you're feeling, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I will reply to it, guys. I will reply. I've got nothing on till this afternoon, so I haven't. Then I'm going to be busy this afternoon, and then hopefully get back around about this evening for a wee live with you, so that's the plan so far. Come on, girl, come on this way. So yeah, going to bring a wee clip as well near the end. Sammy Woodhouse, that's to do with the grooming gang inquiries, so I'll let her explain that. But if anybody wants to screen record it and get it out onto your platforms, it would be a really good idea, you know what I mean. Make sure you give the link to Sammy Woodhouse's channel in the description of your videos, guys. That's what we got to do, you know what I mean, because it's no like, it's so any victims or any witnesses can come forward and have like a place where they can get in contact. And the sad thing about it all is you're not going to hear about this in mainstream media. And that's why it's important for us to get it out, and other YouTubers, Eddie Cool, I'll leave that with you. Anybody else, Paz, all the boys, Richard, Paul, Godford Talks, Andy the Gabby Cabby, Lee, British Patriot Lee, they all should be getting it out there. Dino being obviously British Loarderer, and Silver Fox. This is our media guys. These are the type of guys who we rely on to get what's truly going on in this crazy world of ours. And you're not going to get any information from the media. You've got to rely on citizen journalists. And you would think something so horrific in our time has the grooming gangs, and here we've got us, you guys and me, have paid for this inquiry, the public have paid for it, the government. And it's sad on so many levels. It's quite remarkable. It's one of them things that people won't really realise how fucking fucked up it is until they look back in time, Let me change my hand. But that's where we're at. That's where we are at. That's the world we live in. We have to pay for our own inquiries for the abuse of our children. And obviously we know why, because we know who's implicit. We know that there is men in power who have let this happen. We know there is men in councils that let this happen. We know we can even go as far as say they've paid people off, you know what I mean. So there's huge crimes. We know that police were involved. We know that directives were given and police officers were letting children getting driven away by these men. And we also know fathers were getting arrested for trying to get their children out of these men's houses. And obviously, we have a situation with young girls plied with drink and drugs, being abusive to police officers and all the rest of it, you know what I mean. But in the professional world we live in, professional people like police officers and social workers should be aware of these kind of things. But yet, instead of taking action, they actually, one of the social workers was actually at an illegal wedding to one of these men and one of our 15-year-old children. So it's so deep and so unbelievable. And I think some of us are acclimatized to it. you know, to be honest with you. And like I say, quite a lot of this stuff is going to look more horrific as we go forward looking back. I always say this, it seems to be whenever things settle in the past is when we can truly analyse it. And, you know, this will be concerning for them, you know, and this is the thing about me and other people like me to keep banging on, because we're never going to shut up, we're never going to go away. Like I say, we'll go door to door, we'll get justice, we'll definitely get justice, and we'll get justice for the girls, we'll get justice for the people, because everybody's suffering. It's the most saddest thing that you'll hear of. It's the saddest thing I've ever been through, seeing like this going on, and like how they got away with it. And you know, you look at the government and you find that everything that you see and hear isn't a conspiracy theorist, isn't a conspiracy theory. It's just sometimes it's not remarkable that it's hard to believe. It's like when I go on about what happened to the kids in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s by the government, by politicians and by high-ranking officials, right through to the BBC and celebrities. And it's like, we see it over and over again. It's in America, big in America, child exploitation with people with money. And that seems to be the common denominator. It seems to be these people have so much money and they've done everything in life, and they just, I don't know, it must be some sort of, I don't know, I can't explain it, why this seems to be rife amongst the rich and famous. But, you know, it's real, it's true, and it's happening. And, you know, it's like, we hear now as well that all these fires that have been started, the car, the house where Stormer lived before he was Prime Minister, and a house connected to him. We need to find out about that house that's connected to Stormer. And now we find it's what looked like to everybody as two male prostitutes, two young, people would say good looking guys, I suppose, you know what I mean? And I suppose in my world, you know, just being brutally honest, if you were to put a line up and tell me to pick out the Rent Boys, you probably would have picked these guys out. And, you know, that's just me talking logical and being factual and telling you straight as a person, people, you know, and somebody can read people. You know, if I walked up to these guys, you would know instantly what their game was, you know what I mean? So there's questions that need asked. Again, these are young lads. Obviously, we don't know how long they've been in the game for, you know. That's the question that these guys would need. And you would imagine there will be newspapers and the BBC and Sky News choking to interview these guys. No? I wonder why. I wonder why there's so much silence. We've got an attack on our Prime Minister, right? Could you imagine if this was Trump or any other leader, right? And it's all over the news, all over the internet, that there's an attack on our Prime Minister, cars, houses, and houses connected to him. Yet our media are silent. And now we find it's what we believe to be two gay guys, you know what I mean? That's what we believe. That's like for entertainment and educational purposes only. It's the opinions of a guy who just sees life logically, you know? And yeah, like, it's not funny. It isn't funny. There's nothing funny about this, because if this is the kind of thing that our papers and the government and the broadcasters and the BBC and the Sky News and the Guardian, Hope Not Hate and End Racism, all very quiet, trade unionists all very quiet, with something so, I would say, controversial, to say the least. You know, this is our Prime Minister, the guy that's running our country, you know what I mean? You know, what's going on? You know what I mean? What is going on? And there's so many things that just, it's almost like a movie. It really is. Like, I carry on in the train, hiding all that stuff, getting on all edgy and all that, you know. And as a people reader, you know, as a logical thinker, I know what that was. I know what Macron does. You know, he likes a bit of white. You know, you can tell the way he behaves. Anybody that's been around drug users can see that, you know, same as Zelensky, you know what I mean? And that's my opinion. You know, it looks like that. I've never seen a man rub his nose so much in my life, apart from when I've been in a few parties. And, you know, it's, like I say, it's not funny. Because these people have got so much power. And that's concerning. You know, people talk about me. People say, oh, Freedom Dad, the bank robber. Freedom Dad this, Freedom Dad that. Fuck me, guys, come on. I'm an angel compared to these guys. Please believe me. You know, I've never done a bad thing to anybody that's good. Apart from the bank robberies, obviously, you know. But that's as far as it goes, you know what I mean? I sleep well at night. And, you know, wake up a very happy man every morning. Because of who I am and my morals, you know what I mean? And I'm quite proud of who I am. You know, these guys, like I've always kept saying to you, you wouldn't have them around you. If you were in jail with these guys, you would keep them at a fucking very arm's length. Please believe me. And, you know, doesn't make any sense, because we know who real men look like. We know what real men are, you know. Just got to look at Ben Habib, you know what I mean? Rupert Lowe, Richard Inman, Tommy Robinson. And I'm not like, I know, okay, I like, as you know, I'm not being biased. I'm just being honest as a people reader. Some men stand out as real men, you know what I mean? And there's many other men out there. I'm not going to name the shitloads of men. I'm just the first names that come into my head, guys, you know what I mean? And we've got loads of men like that in our communities. We've got loads of leaders, good, bright, upstanding young men coming up, you know what I mean? We don't need college graduates. You don't need to go to college, guys, you know what I mean? You just don't need to do all that, you know? Social policies is what you live and breathe, you know? It really is. You know, it is what you live and breathe. You don't need a degree to work out what social policies you need in your community, okay? Simple as that. But guys, yes, leave a wee comment if you are feeling it right now. If you want, you know, a wee bit, I don't know, I'll try and help you out a bit, you know what I mean? Have a wee, just say hello to you or something, you know what I mean? I will reply. And like I say, I'm going to leave you with Sammy Woodhouse, because I think it's important that this gets pushed out there, you know, obviously. And yeah, I'm all good, busy. I've got a lot on my mind right now. Got a couple of interviews to do. I'm thinking about questions they ask. Well, you know, mightn't be on camera. It's just for me to find out what's going on and how to do my videos, you know what I mean? Because obviously I need to know things, you know what I mean, to be able to bring it to you guys, because that's what it's all about. I'm trying to bring what you wouldn't normally find out, what you definitely wouldn't find out in the media. And I think that's important. I think it's unique, and I think it's hopefully a trendsetter. Like I say, I'm only doing this if somebody else picks up the baton, guys. But I'll never leave you guys. I'll always be here for the chat and all that. Like, but you know, it is exhausting. It's non-stop, and sometimes it can be a bit edgy, to say the least. But you know, onwards and upwards as always. But yeah, I think it's about 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go and get a coffee. It's the dog emptied, and do a wee bit of research. But yeah, here's the amazing and quite unique Sammy Woodhouse. God bless, guys.
Well, the rape gang inquiry that was set up by MP Rupert Lowe have today launched the online evidence submission, which is great because it now means that you can all get involved in helping us in the inquiry. Now, whether you are a survivor, family member, professional, journalist, or just a member of the public and you have any information or evidence, then we would love to hear from you. Now, we also recognise that this could be a very traumatic and stressful time for especially survivors and family members. So we want to make sure that we offer you as much help and support as we possibly can. I will be the victim engagement officer on the panel, so if you have any questions or if you would like any help and support, then please do get in contact with me and we will try and do as much as we possibly can. Now, I would also just like to say a huge thank you to everybody that has donated to the inquiry, which I think is well over 600,000 now, and we wouldn't be able to do this work that we're doing without that help and support. Now, there is lots of work going off behind the scenes, and of course, where we can, we will be sharing and making sure that we are updating you on everything that is happening at the inquiry. So as I say, if you have any information, any questions, please do get in contact, and I shall see you all soon.